All right. Venusian salute, brothers and sisters. Let's exchange heart energy. What is the black sun, my brother? I mean, the podcast has turned out to the gods, the future, the astral, the invisible. Who fucking cares what all these things are to someone else? What are they to me? How do I go beyond the veil, behind the mirror? And Maria, who's here with us this day, 3/12, March 12th, 12/3 for you in Europe. And how does something become real? It becomes real to you. And I am, at least Maria's witness, to say it is, and this is exactly why our enemies call themselves this. It is a process. Maybe I should look up a synonym for process. And I'm joking because at the same time, we can't let these people steal our joy. Right? They can't make us not care. Does that make sense? They can't. And, it's they can make us, Maria's children, not care for a moment, but not essentially. Because essentially, we are our inner code. We are what we believe. That's a common saying back home on Venus, I'm told by Maria. Because every day I'm trying to remember, recover, and return to. So I don't really remember, that being a common saying. But my evidence, and this is what faith is, because we're going to take it back from the murderous human sacrifice Christians. Oh, God! And we want to challenge you. Anyone out there who was having supernatural experiences up until now, and you were attributing it to God, Source, the universe, the Great Spirit, a higher power, any of those things, we absolutely, in all of our efforts, have never found that. That does not exist. A being with all power does not exist. A being with all power over you exists. It's your true self. He is, or she is, all-knowing, ever-present, all-powerful, beyond time, beyond space. I know it doesn't sound right, because you're like, I had these experiences, and my whole podcast of hundreds of hours of me telling you I have had experiences my whole life, and I am absolutely sure, not because I want you to convert to anything or think like me. I'll probably never meet you. I would like to, though. I would like to challenge you to go back and analyze each experience with the information, the doubt, right? The doubt at what you were born into that you don't realize you were born into. I want you just to question in this each experience, one by one. Could I have a true self that has the power that Joe says? Was this God, source, universe, higher power, or was this my true self? I mean, that's the kind of language we've come to say. But let me try to translate it into everybody's language. My spirit, my essence, do you believe there's a eternal part of you? It may not be the part that's here right now. Maybe, maybe it's a part, but not the whole. Have you ever thought that maybe yourself could create avatars, personas, good and bad? I mean, you say persona and people think they automatically take it as bad because you were born into a thinking that we're trying to shatter on purpose. We're not playing we hate evil. We're not gonna forgive it. We're not gonna, and what do I mean? Injustice, unfairness, just plain as that. And have I made mistakes and been unfair before? Yes. But I stand against even myself that if we don't live by the inner code and the principles, we'll never find balance and we'll never find happiness. Because again, we're teaching a religion. And it's not for you to come and pick and choose what you want. That's American. That's Christian. That is exactly what Christians do with the Bible. Exactly. And people who were never Christian do the same thing. Not because I'm criticizing you or mad at you or you were born into it. You don't know that you're doing it. That's the frustrating thing from my point of view. And I know this because I went through it myself. And what do I mean by state of mind, thinking, born into? Literally a vibration that plays upon your very DNA like a force that's subconsciously calling you to conform for success, let me back up, for survival, which has now been translated into success. In America, people don't survive because there's food everywhere and there's money everywhere, but it's every day the rich are getting richer in America. In the middle class, the working class is disappearing, right? So the money's disappearing. But the essence of the essential fact that you were born into this rat race is what we're trying to transfigure. The age, actually. Like Maria said, we're like the ghetto Miguel Serrano. For real, though, we're coming more from like not the streets, but where I grew up, we just roamed that's what we did. It wasn't a necessity because we didn't have parents. And even in the late 70s, early 80s, most people had divorced parents or one parent. But we did it and lived out in the world because we didn't have phones. and we had 3 TV stations that were boring as fuck. So it caused me to be a very social kid. My friend who killed himself at the age of 40, I mean, he was a tremendously social person because he liked connecting with people, and I mean, he enjoyed that, but he also had a want to help people, try to give them something. He's a wonderful example of a person. I've told stories about him on here, but there was 800 and something people who signed the book at the funeral home. And it wasn't like he worked with hundreds of people. He installed satellite TVs and worked on a farm and had his own little farm there at the end for like the last 10 years or even more, maybe 15. And you know what I mean? It wasn't like he was part of a union with hundreds of friends. It was that, and I'm not exaggerating, it was that he kept in contact with people through his whole life. I took a photo of me, no exaggeration, with like 6 or 7 of my elementary school friends at his funeral. Were 7 of our elementary school friends. Our high school bus driver was there. The local woman, old lady who worked at the local gas station where they sold coffee, she was there because he acknowledged her as a person. And I'm trying to get at the born into, right? And I'm saying all that to say, like, he was like Miguel Serrano's friend. I mean, I hope I don't lose people. Like, what the fuck is he? Well, how is that? How does that relate? That Miguel Serrano and his friend Jason, which is the mythical name, his real name, I think, was Diego, maybe, who was a poet who was murdered when he was 21. And in the book knows he's Jason. And they had this best friend relationship connection about these very things that we talk about. All these, the very deepest questions. Why are we here? What are we doing? And part of their thing was, is there something to a generation? And me and my friend had the same thing. Like, it's seems naive to say, it seems cliche even, but it's like the sort of like you want to change the world. Consciously start to speak about it. And my friend, he was a football player. He was involved with sports. His family is very sports, so I was kind of introducing And his oldest brother, who died in a motorcycle accident when he was 18 years old. 18 years old. He was going to be 19. He was more like me, less, more into music and art, the arts. He died. And so I would introduce things to my friend, like punk rock, Rastafarian, philosophy. And he thanked me sincerely later and told me basically like there was something you were right about, unconsciously. And the search and the connection was like, that's what I want to do. I understand you're into these things because you want to change the world. Like, like he came full circle. Like, I understand it. I want to do the same thing. And he was very psychically talented. Like, we didn't know, but in 6th grade, we began telepathically communicating in class. And we didn't even know, to call it telepathic, right? And I just say all that as a little preface to say we're bringing you, or I'm trying to bring you a sort of, and I don't actually feel like I'm not doing it justice. I'm not being as clear. I'm trying, but I'm trying to bring you like a supernatural conversion to another religion, that so changed everything that here we are. All right, and we'll just continue right here with last night. We were reading Nietzsche and the Eternal Return. And we left off at this incredible paragraph. At this point in the reading of these lines, we cannot cease to ask ourselves, shall we find here the origin of déjà vu in Eternal Return? Déjà vu of the psychiatrist and the parapsychologist? And I tell you, that's just what I find. Will this be as sensed by the believers in reincarnation and the resurrection of the flesh? Right? Hindus, Christians, who have only given a different interpretation to intuition of it. Right? Will this be sensed? This eternal return? That because each individual person is so incredibly supernatural powerful in the physical universe, everything, and in all universes, everywhere, in every dimension, everything has already happened. Will they sense it? The believers in reincarnation and the resurrection of the flesh, who have only given a different interpretation to intuition. Which ones have interpreted more accurately. Let me ask you, who's right? They or Nietzsche? The hermit continues, and these are the words of Nietzsche. My doctrine reads thus: live such that you want to live again. You will live again. The question in everything you propose to do is this of such that I would like to do it for an eternity? Stamp the seal of eternity on your life. When you feel the hour of farewell approaches, and perhaps soon, then the sunset of this feeling illuminates your lucky star. Do not despise this testimony. The meaning is you love life and love yourself and love as you have lived and strived, and you aspire to make your life eternal. Do not forget the perishable sings her song, and on hearing the first verse almost dies of nostalgia at the thought that everything could go on forever. Do you think you will have a long rest before your rebirth? Then you're wrong. Between the ultimate instant of your consciousness and the first reflection of the new life, no time elapses. It is like lightning. Timelessness and succession ally to one another as the intellect disappears. Are you really prepared? You must have passed through every degree of skepticism and bathed with delight in the cold waters of the torrent. Otherwise, you shall have no right to this idea. A valley between golden ice fields and a pure sky. The Magus, the magician. We follow the shadow cast by the flight of the eagle up above in those pure, rarefied heights. In those solitudes, we suddenly hear a scream. Only he endures who feels able to repeat himself forever. Should I read that again? In those solitudes, we suddenly hear a scream. Only he endures. Only he endures who feels able to repeat himself forever. Did we hear that right? And again, more screams. From the moment this idea appears, the colors, all colors, are changed. And history is another. The history of the future. This thought will triumph more and more. And those who do not believe in it shall radically disappear. For they have a short life on their conscience. What does this mean? Is it the negation of the doctrine of the eternal return, where nothing can be altered? Is this fanaticism, the ecstasy that transforms into religion, into maximum, maxim, into threat, right? Is this crazy? Is it even a threat? Also, when he says, and this is Serrano speaking, right? So this is Serrano speaking about what I just read. What does this mean? Is it the negation of the doctrine of eternal return, where nothing can be altered? Is this fanaticism, the ecstasy that transforms into religion, into maxim, into threat? Also, when he says, in the course of every human life, there shall always be an hour in which, first to one, then to many, and latter to all, the most powerful idea, that of the eternal return of all things. This shall be the noontide for humanity. And Serrano says, what is this noontide? Does it mean a special situation in the circle? Or does it mean a going out from the circle? It is like an echo of Buddhist nirvana, which also shows first to one, then to many, and someday to the entire wheel of karmic reincarnation. Nietzsche would deny such things are still possible, right? 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 This is where it's a different religion, what we're teaching. Nietzsche was too lucid, insightful, and he was always alert to the dangers of the fanaticism he fought so much, and that he knew could have drawn him to become the founder of a new religion. Hmm? And like, you know, we're using the word in a positive way. And of course, there's the negative of religions, right? So, and that's the monetizing of it. That's what Serrano means here, that, Nietzsche in his revelation was too strong to become a cult leader, right? Um, it could have drawn him to become the founder of a new religion. He would not fall so naively into a contradiction of this kind. Rather, there would be an essential aspect of the doctrine, something perhaps introduced surreptitiously and despite himself, and this he would leave without clarification, guarding it for himself, taking it with him into the watery depths. And Maria's here now with me, and she's saying, believe me, Joe, this was the talk of the town, was Nietzsche and this shot that brought us back to our ancestors. She said, that's how I received this at 12 years old. I was like, this is what the people I am supernaturally contacting, Lou, Diana Donna Kali, that's these people. That's what they say. She's like, you don't know how much we love him. Nietzsche's a precious, precious god of a man. There are slight indications The most powerful idea takes contributing forces previously used for other ends and therefore has a shaping power, creates new laws in the movement of forces, but does not create new forces. In this lies the ability to determine and order individuals in a new way through their emotions. Do you hear that? This is a revelation. Let me read it again. From
underneath the moon sky, feel the vibe. Island breezes whisper low like a live tribe. Nana dance through the night, heart so free. With every swaying step, she's a melody. Roots in the sun, the only guide. When Nana guide us home. Through waters wild, to love we roam. River of Amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. In the sunshine we never lost, just found echoes of laughter, we move through that sound. Colors of the sunset paint the ocean deep with not a spirit viv, but wait, never sleep. Unity we rise, no need to hide. The river speaks, it knows our name. Through every wave, one thought to reclaim. River of Amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. River of Amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. Sunflower, Sita, and you shine forever bright. In the rhythm of love, we ignite.